Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting of council of April 2nd, it being 7 p.m. We have the land acknowledgement in our agenda paper. I'll call the meeting to order. Council, any concerns, conflicts? Just before I seek an adoption, I'll note because of the business on the agenda, we'll take a recess after item 11 to answer a question from the public, and then we'll go into our closed meeting. So with that, unless there's any amendments to the agenda, a motion to adopt, please. Second, all in favor? Carried. Then it is my pleasure to proclaim April 4th to 10th, 2025 as National Dental Hygienist Week in the District of Sechelt. And in honor of that, I had my teeth cleaned earlier this week. Council will move on then to page 5, and that's item 5.1, the permissive property tax exemption. I guess, Mr. Douglas, is there something you want to add to the report?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just that, in September, Council struck a select committee to review the permissive tax exemption policy, which 3 members of Council were involved in and came up with a number of recommendations. Those recommendations went to Committee of the Whole to be authorized to insert into the existing policy. And this is just the coming to council for adoption.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, council. Any questions? Councillor Shepherd?
No questions. I'll move the District of Sechelt Permissive Property Tax Exemption Policy 2.8.1 be approved as amended.
Thank you. And seconded. Okay, any questions? Just, I suppose, for the public, the late amendment on the agenda is item 4 on page 7. And so we're sticking with 4.7% because that's what we've been giving out in the past. Is that correct, Mr. Douglas? Yeah. Is that okay? I got a nod. Thank you. All right. Any other comments? Then I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Item 5.2, I think, can be pretty quick. This starts on page 23. Council will note that the application has actually been withdrawn, so unless our Director of Planning wants to add anything to that, there's a lot of data here, but they withdrew, and I did see the trailers are gone, so that's good. So I don't think we actually need a motion. Could have even, Mr. Allen?
Thank you. No motion required. It's just that we had commenced advertisements, had received correspondence, and it just made sense to put it on the agenda just for closure.
Right. Okay, so I'll take a motion to receive, just to put it in the doc. Okay, seconded, all in favor? Great. Then we can go to page 26 for the noise variance. And again, we have Mr. Naus. You're going to come up here? I meant here.
Yes, the contractor anticipates during the week they will need 1 day in which they will have a very large pour for the second floor of the community services building. And they have to finish the concrete to such a level that it needs to be fairly smooth. So there will be power trowels and a fair amount of noise. They're hoping that they'll be able to have the pour completed by 9 p.m. within the parameters of the noise bylaw. But the expectation is they may run over. And so they are not able to give us a firm date because such a pour is weather contingent.
Great. Okay. Yes, Councillor Bell.
Make a motion. that council approves a request for the variance to section 4(1)D of noise bylaw number 519, 2012.
Thank you. Second,
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
sure, for discussion, please.
please.
Yeah, just, thank you. Do we know when we receive these, documents, and in this case, specifically because of its location, how many, like, how loud would this be? I think of the area there, it's generally service, and educational, not necessarily at night with the educational, so mainly service on our side, which means this municipal hall side of that particular development. And on that side, there's residences with some separation of land and trees. So that's just my question. How many people do we think we're affecting when we potentially go into the morning like that? Thanks.
Mr. Niles? Yeah.
To Councillor Inkster through the mayor, I'm not really sure, but there are some residential buildings there. There is Rain City, the shelter there, and there are a couple of apartments that are fairly close. So I have every expectation that they will hear it. Power trowels are very noisy. They're like extremely strong lawnmowers. They have a very powerful four-stroke engine, or in two-stroke in older cases, and they will be loud. So we're hoping that they will be able to finish the concrete within the parameters of the noise bylaw, but just in case, anticipating things don't often go as planned, they have asked me to request a variance.
Okay. Okay. No, so it's noisy.
So, yeah, thanks. And so my hope is that many of these companies don't really like paying overtime, and they'll be finished as early as possible, so they won't affect the neighborhood. Thanks.
Great. I think everybody would agree.
Yeah.
Counselor Toth.
Thank you. Unfortunately, having worked in construction, when some of these long pours go, it doesn't take much to totally throw out your schedule, including a concrete truck that runs late or breaks down. I was actually going to move option 2, which was a notification to the surrounding area. And so I'm wondering if the recommendation that's currently on the floor, is there any intention to deliver notification to the surrounding area at all? I'm even thinking those apartment buildings that are closest by.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Belmar and Midcoast are in, yeah. I think with your indulgence, Counselor Toth, we could make that as a second motion instead of directly as option 2, but the second part of option 2. Any other?
Well, it's a question, but
Yep.
we do any.
Oh, okay. At the moment, is there a plan to do any notification? Mr. Manis?
This was something, frankly, that I added because it was of value in my previous jurisdictions where we did have large construction projects. And in one instance that will stay with me forever, notice was not given to the local residents, and unfortunately, a council bore the brunt of it.
Well, we wouldn't want that. Okay, so at the moment, there's no plan, but you're happy if we make a motion to do that? Right? Okay, all right. Well, I've got a motion. Yeah, right. Okay, anything else? For the record, all being well, one late night after April 28th. Okay, all in favor of that motion? Carried. Counselor Toth.
Thank you. And that written notice is given by the contractor to residents within a 100-meter radius of the building.
Great. That's a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Great. Thank you, Mr. Nios. We then go to item 28, page 28, item 6.1 before us for adoption. Mr. Allen, anything in Mr. Hall's absence? Anything to add? Oh, look who's here. Larger than life. Okay, council. So Mr. Hall, anything to add?
Nope, nothing to add.
Okay. Yes, Councilor Inkster. Motion?
No.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to wait till the motion is put on the floor before I say
Sure.
anything then? Or-
Yep.
Okay. I'm certainly not moving it.
Okay. Is there a seconder? Second? Okay, now, Counselor Inkster.
Yeah, thank you. Make sure to get the right item here, thanks. Still have some concerns, still opposed, still think we could have worked with the developer to have a smaller scale development that met the neighborhood cross-section and the neighborhood housing type. I still think it's a square peg in a round hole. And it reminds me of another decision we made on Orchard, in which we tried to put a square peg in a round hole a number of years ago, and that lot still sits undeveloped and vacant. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Other comments or questions? Counselor Shepherd, please.
Yeah, I've got to tack on to Councillor Inkster's comments. I've generally voted for sort of SHMU guidelines, smaller, denser housing types for these areas. I just think that unfortunately for these lots, they're just so small. And what we haven't been able to see so far is exactly, we've got sort of a rough estimate of fourplexes and a sense, well, might not be able to put that density on the site once they get into finer detail of planning. But I find it hard to support the project without knowing what the final proposal is for the site. So I'm not going to support the motion. I mean, I will say the developer has moved. They've sort of, they've increased the size of the lot, so it's no longer the original proposal, which was 8 lots. Now it's 7. But, you know, as per my comments on the last time this came to council, I would have preferred, as Councillor Inkster mentioned, some staggered types of housing. So some duplexes mixed with fourplexes. So at least we have some sort of a change in density from one unit to the other. So I won't be supporting the motion. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Other comments? Suppose I'd just observe there's a process still to be followed. And while we need density, perhaps I'm sure the applicant is aware of the concerns that have been expressed. So this will be back to us, I would imagine, looking to Mr. Hall or Mr. Allen, a couple or 3 times more before shovels are in the ground.
That's correct. This is the rezoning, but you will see the development permit at some point in the future.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. Councillor Toth? No. Oh, yes, Councillor Inkster.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, concerns expressed by a number of council members, but also by some nearby residents in the neighborhood, a number of which are quite angry. This large development near single-family detached residential. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Anything else? Ready for the question? All in favor? Opposed? Councilors Inkster and Shepherd are opposed. The motion carries. Thank you, everybody. We then go to the bylaw on page 30. I'll entertain a motion to adopt. Councillor Toth, Councillor Bell, thank you. Any further discussion? Not, call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Councillor Shepherd and Inkster opposed. Motion carries. Thank you, Council. Then we go to the curiously named protection of trees on District Sechelt public lands for adoption when we talk about highways and parking and so on and so forth. The arcane world of local government. Page 32, Council. So, Mr. Nios, do you want to add anything? This has been pending for a few months, but we're cleaning it up. I don't want to say pruning it.
Thank you, Your Worship. This should have been before you much earlier than it has been, and I apologize for that. You might say it slipped through our fingers for a while, and just because of just because of an incident that happened, we brought it forward again so that we could do some enforcement on that incident.
All right, so, so no changes from June when this came to us and we gave it third reading? Yeah. That's all look, is that, yeah, okay. All right, any discussion, council? It's to, for adoption? So you- Yep. To adopt, okay, seconded. Call the question, all in favor? Very good. Then I had a procedural question, which I neglected to ask our corporate officer. Do we need to go through each of these? I suppose we do, don't we?
Yes, Your Worship. Each of the bylaws will require a separate vote.
Okay, so council, let's try and keep up, and I'm talking to me. I say that. So a motion, please, to adopt bylaw number 51604, 2024, and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried? I did page 34. Yeah. And then we'll go to page 38. Which is bylaw 51514, 2024, moved, seconded. All in favor, adoption, carried. We go to page 40. Motion from Counselor Inkster, seconded Counselor Shepherd. Any further discussion? Favor? Carried. Okay, then we go to page 42, and this is the various enforcement bylaws. So again, I think don't need to ask Mr. Nios to jump up again, or unless he wishes to.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have nothing more to add.
All right, well, thank you for that fulsome report. Council, we have a recommendation to, for adoption of the various bylaws. So could I have that motion seconded? All in favor of the staff report? Great. Then now page 44, bylaw number 49105, 2025 for adoption. Seconded. All in favor? Bylaw number 515-15, 2025. This is on page 50. Seconded, all in favor. Bylaw number 409-13, 2025 on page 76. Seconded, all in favor. Bylaw number 494-03, 2025 on page 78. Moved and seconded. All in favor. Carried. Bylaw number 48401, 2025 on page 80. Seconded, all in favor. Bylaw number 44501, 2025 fireworks. I take that as moved, seconded, and voted. And bylaw number 3702, 2025 on page 84. Motion and seconded, all in favor. Thank you. And pesticide amendment 44101, 2025 on page 86. Second, all in favor. Sign bylaw 45604, 2025 on page 88. Second, all in favor. And open air burning amendment bylaw 48603, 2025. Move seconded, in favor. Ta-da, great. Okay, thank you, council. That we jump 50, well, on my computer, 50 pages to the meeting of, the minutes of the meeting of March 19th. Any Or I look for a motion. Any concerns? Not. I will entertain a motion to adopt. Seconded. Thank you. All in favor? Carried. The other meeting of the same date, March 19th, and this is on page 103. Short procedural meeting. Moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried. March 24th, the special meeting of council. Same thing. Motion, please. Thank you. Second, all in favor? Carried. And March 26th, on page 107. Counselor, that's a motion. And second, all in favor? Carried. Oh, great. Okay. So, I neglected to mention at the beginning of the meeting, Councilors Rowe and McLaughlin are obviously not with us tonight. So we won't be calling them on them for their council reports. We will, however, be calling on the SCRD reps.
You should mention it when you get to you. Yeah. There's only two things I wanted to sort of highlight from the SCRD for the moment. Our corporate prioritization document work plan has been published and endorsed. It is a work in progress. If you go and read the agenda and you look at the document right now, it looks like there's a number of critical things that aren't going to be worked on in 2025. It's going to reach a convergence point where it'll actually be in alignment with what's happening in the organization. But the problem was that without that, there was too much opportunity to sort of work on 100 little things and not move any one thing forward. So I know that Director Bax had actually shared the model that we're using with a counterpart up in the Yukon territories who was quite interested to hear about it and figure out how they could incorporate it up there. So yeah, we're not the only, the SCRD is not the only jurisdiction that sort of uses that template, and we'll get more familiar with it and comfortable with it as we move forward. The only other thing I want to highlight is tomorrow there's a groundbreaking ceremony for the new Connor Park Community Hall. Yeah, this was the hall that was largely grant funded, potentially at Cooper's Green, but wasn't suitable due to, ground disturbances, proximity to the shore, septic issue, like just a whole world of issues. So it was relocated to Connor Park. Anyways, that groundbreaking is tomorrow morning at 10. Yeah, 10 a.m. I think. And yeah, I know that Director Inkster is going to be there, so I'll turn it over to him.
Oh, wow. Good reminder. Yeah. I thought it was at 11, but that's okay. You'll check, right? Yeah, okay. Okay. Can't guarantee that. So there's a number of issues, items on the agenda last week, which is interesting. Water license amendment, Lower Crown, Raw Water Reservoir, recycling depot, service delivery model, corporate work plan and board priorities, which is obviously I'm mentioning these so that the council has any interest in them. They can go look back at the agenda. Of course, I can provide that to them. Solid waste management plan update, which is another good one. And then on the board agenda, board made the decision to connect power to make the decision to spend the money to connect power to the landfill, which is an indication of the life we hope to get out of it going forward, at least in that, or a diversion plan, which I would may be its use, but I would hope to use it as it continues its use right now. Request for exemption from noise bylaw, and we made a decision on the Gibson's rec center roof replacement, which is obviously a lot of money, but it gives an indication to this council and the community that the rec facilities that were constructed in the late 2008, 9, 10, 9, 10, 11, 12, I guess, probably 10, 11, 12, are getting to that age where they're needing some upgrades and some roof replacements. It's getting to the point where nearing the point of the loan being paid off, but also replacement, which is something we all consider as our infrastructure replacement, buildings, et cetera, in our own municipality. So it's an indication right then and there. And with our own aquatic center, some equipment breaking down, that we're going to have to spend a little bit of money soon to make sure the facilities are up to snuff going forward. The final thing I wanted to mention is there's going to be, I'm not sure when it is, what it's planned for, but it's interesting because it's an opportunity, because we don't do this anymore much, is the intergovernmental meeting to discuss waste management and disposal, which is sort of in reference to couple of the items discussed last week. So there's going to be an intergovernmental, I'm assuming the rationale and/or agenda or plan, potentially, hopefully working with municipal staff to have an intergovernmental that obviously we're all to go to. And I'm not sure if the chair knows anything more about that. You have a date already?
I think it's May 29th.
May 29th, okay. Well, how am I the last to know? Jeez, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, maybe. I'll do that. But there we go, May 29th. Lots of time to prepare, but it's an opportunity for all the local governments to get together to discuss an important issue. Thank you.
Right. All right, thank you, SCRD reps. So how about we start with Councillor Shepherd, then Councillor Bell, Councillor Toth, Councillor Inkster.
Sure, not much in the last week. Some some meetings that required a council or two to attended those. And meeting with the Minister of Tourism, BC Minister of Tourism, Annie Weiss from Sunshine Coast Tourism was there as well. The minister was doing a tour, Powell River, and all through the island, just meeting by himself with communities. So it was interesting. We've lost some sort of COVID funding for one of our events. So the minister was trying to help us out with some other funds that might be applicable. Overall, it was a great meeting, and I'm very thankful that he made the effort to drop in and speak to us. Thanks.
Great. Yeah, Spencer's Chandra Herbert. Great, Councillor Bell.
And so attended the Sunshine Coast Homeless Action Committee meeting on Tuesday morning. Just do a full round report from the number of Rain City, Salvation Army, and so on. I think the thing that just highlight here is that the shelter, Salvation Army will be closing the end of April, just because they close at that period of time. They only hire staff for 6 months. So they will have, there's a couple people identified that they know will be homeless, I guess, but they're moving to cars or other things. So they're trying to assist them with those, as well as the shelter at Rain City. And the other thing was just to spend a full day with the Community Investment Program, which is where we receive applications from the communities, nonprofits, to assist them with the amazing programs and services that they do. We had a tremendous committee, lots of great discussion. I could tell that our committee put a lot of effort into preparing for the meeting and brought a wide variety of great comments and some good debate. And so it's a very difficult program in the sense it's a fantastic one, but there's just not a lot of money for what the need is. And so it is a very, very, as I say, it's a difficult decision-making process, but I really appreciate the committee, and particularly Maria. She's doing a great job, and Chris is always there to help us, and I really appreciate your assistance as well. So more to come. The announcements will be made later on once everything is put on, but that, of course, will be coming to council with the recommendations on who we have made decisions around. just to sort of highlight the fact that we know that things are getting very, very tight out there. The nonprofits are certainly talking about that. We know that Arrowhead programming has been, or funding has been cut back substantially for the first time in a number of years. As a result of that, they will have to close Saturday. So they were open on Saturday and had probably 50 people go through. So that's an impact of what's happening, and hopefully letters have been sent from the District of Sechelt, and I know that we sent it to the province. And I think there's going to be a lot of those kind of discussions and advocacy things happening. But as we know, we're just coming out of their budget now. So we'll see what happens. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Counselor Bell, Counselor Tough.
Don't really have much to add to what's already been said. Been in a whole number of meetings and sessions and things all over the place in the last couple of weeks. I think the most notable thing was I had 3 meetings in a row on a Friday with our MLA. So it was kind of fun. We'd, oh, hi, good to see you. Long time no see. And then go to the next meeting and, oh, hi, so other than that, I don't really have anything to report today. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Counselor Inkster?
Yeah, just a quick one. It's good to see the minister come in and meet with us upstairs and identify some funding opportunities. So I'm hoping that staff present was able to take note of those if applicable to the District of Sechelt. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, I would add, last week I booked to make sure I could get on the 6:20 ferry, which is not a nice thing to have to do, and particularly not when it was 98 minutes late leaving. That was the Tuesday last, and it was the new vessel. And I just flag it because the issue is one that we've talked about at length about resilience. And you may be aware the commissioner for BC Ferries has just released her report giving them 4 ferries instead of 5. And that is bad for us because it means even less capacity to help us when our old vessels break down. So I think we've got some work to do on that in the coming weeks and months because at this point, I can't see a new vessel on this route for decades. Talked about the meeting with Minister Herbert and Councillor Shepherd. I think you and I attended a couple of meetings that you mentioned. I happened into downtown Sechelt, a shout out to the Sechelt Downtown Business Association for cocktails and botanicals. And I wasn't quite sure, but I knew I liked cocktails, but I wasn't sure what the botanicals were all about. But apparently you can make gins out of botanicals. So wherever you went up and down the street, one of our district staff was making very good elderberry gin cocktails in Little Brit of Heaven. And I don't know whether I say it went downhill or uphill from there. Cowrie was very pleasant to walk. It was a nice day and a lot of people out. So I commend them for it. And all the merchants had their own little cocktail stands within the stores. So very, very fun. Attended the Davis Bay Wilson Creek Selma Park AGM on Monday. APC last night, big shout out, largest APC membership. We had 2 people that had to join remote, I believe, but we actually had to take most of the seats that you staff sit at and all of these seats for all the new members, and a very dynamic group, a lot of enthusiasm, and I think Mr. Hall has left us, I believe, but he ran a good meeting. And then transition to joining the drag racers for their meeting after the APC. Quick reminder to everybody, the Farmers and Artisan Market opens this Saturday. I hope council will join me at 9 o'clock to see if they bring the bell again this year to open it. I hope they do. And Rotary Volunteer Fair is on April 12th, a very big deal, the Senior Center. And I think they're getting a lot of people signing up for tables and
More than
2 more tables.
Yeah, 2 more.
Yeah, it's very good news. So, yeah, so that's my comments for today. Counselor Bell, yes.
To add to your comment about the ferries, last week, Patrick Weiler came up for a gathering, one of his campaign gatherings, which was to start at 12 o'clock at the Gibson's Public Market. At 7:30 in the morning, I got a call that there was mechanical difficulties. That ferry, so the 7:30 never left till 10. And then it carried on, and he finally got to the event at 1 p.m. So it just goes to show you that
Yep.
it is concerning around the age of these vessels,
Mm.
mechanics.
We had a thought to talk about.
Since Counselor Inkster's microphone wasn't on, he said if only we had a ferry advisory committee to talk about that. Yeah. Okay, well, council, I think that's just for all of us to ponder how best we can add our voices to the needs for Route 3. There's nothing else, then, council, we go to page 109, which is the request from AVICC to provide our input on the modernizing of the Local Government Act. So this is before us just to consider it, and whether each of us can submit a response. I think some of us attended the online briefing a couple or 3 weeks ago, but you want to?
I actually wanted to ask the rest of council who else was on that call.
Okay.
Because we were warned that when this survey link was activated, it was going to be a monster of a survey. Like it's like 100 slides or like pages of questions you got to go through. Haven't had a chance to do it yet, but I don't know if you have, but yeah.
Did all that without the microphone on. So we did have a motion to receive the AVICC request for participation. And now if it suits council, a motion to go into closed session, after which we will recess to entertain questions from the public. Second, favor of going into closed meeting under sections 91, Edward and Gully, G for Gully. Oh, golf, thank you. Okay, all in favor? Thank you. And the motion to recess and second, all in favor? Okay. Yeah, yeah. Don't need your headlights. Thanks, Pam. Anybody, Zoom land? If you're in attending remotely and would like to ask